The Weekly, hosted by the editors of Pro Builder and Pro Remodeler, starts now.
Hi, my name is Erika Taylor, and I'm the Director of Content for Pro Remodeler. We're a media brand that goes out to 90,000 remodelers nationwide. So with me today are three experts in the field. We're going to be talking about transparency in remodeling, what it is, why you should care, what people are doing going forward, what some are the predictions and how this is affecting the industry. And I think I'd like to get started with some introductions. So who wants to go first?
Heidi Powell with Top Inspection. We're in Corvallis, Oregon, which is a small college town, and we've been in the design build remodel business for about 30 years.
My name is Carp. I'm co-founder and CEO of Bolster. Bolster is a design and build firm based in New York City. Prior to that, I was co-founder of another renovation company in Mexico, based out of Mexico City.
Okay, and David?
I started out in construction about, should I admit this, 55 years ago. And I've always loved to write, and I've gone on in that direction now for many, many years. And I continue to write books. My last book, I'll hold it up, is this beast here called Nail Your Numbers, A Path to Skilled Construction Estimating and Bidding. And it contains some thoughts, my thoughts about the issue of transparency, which really began emerging as an issue about 40 years ago when we started moving beyond bidding for free.
That's a beautiful segue into our topic, because while I agree with you that it certainly has been a word that we've used for 40 years, I feel that probably in the last 5 years, maybe a little bit more, it's almost become a buzzword in the industry. I think one of the issues around transparency is that there's no clear definition for what it means. I agree that it means honest and open, but what does that mean in terms of an estimate? How, where do you put your profit and how do you show that profit? I don't know. What I hear from a lot of remodelers is if I go to see a lawyer or if I go to see a dentist or a surgeon, they're not going to tell me how much money they're making. That's not my business. They're in business, but their business is their business, and so why should I be called upon to break out my numbers, including showing?
And there's a very simple answer to that. That's one of the bullshit rationalizations I hear for lying in estimates all the time. And the answer is, if you're providing a competitive bid, you don't owe the client anything other than a lump sum figure. Now, if you want to give them more as a sales tactic, fine, but you don't owe it to them. But if you are being paid to create an estimate, then you owe the client honest numbers. And when you hire a doctor or a lawyer or go into a restaurant and buy a meal, you're not paying for numbers. You are paying for a product. That's different than what we do in construction.
I'm not sure that I entirely agree. I hear what you're saying, but I'm not sure that I agree. So Anna, you had mentioned before that you see it that we are providing a product. So with that in mind, how do you deal with profitability and transparency, and what does that mean to you?
In order to provide empowerment to homeowners in their understanding of their project, you must provide them with granularity. And the granularity in the estimating process, by definition, needs to reveal where you're making money, what your insurances are. If we're doing a design and build project, we've done the sketches, we figure out the first pre-estimate in reality. We're gonna have, our overhead, our profit, the estimated labor, the estimated duration. We're gonna have what we think the plumbing, the electrical, the mechanical will be.
We show the contractor's fee as a line at the bottom. And so we detail out all the materials and the subcontractors. We put the labor as one number.
So you don't break out labor at all, like plumbing, electrical, none of that stuff?
No, we have labor as one number at the bottom, and then then the overhead, the contractor's fee.
What about like supervisory time, sort of project management time? Do you differentiate that from the labor?
No, that's part of the labor.
The real sticky point comes back to the one that you disagreed with, Erika. and that is the matter of being candid about your overhead and profit. That's where the big issue is. That when I write about the ethical requirement to expose to clients your true markups for overhead and profit, there are guys who get really excited and say, yes, that's right. You got to do that. That's the honest thing to do. There's guys who get enraged and say, I would never show owners my numbers. That's none of their business. And my personal opinion is that these various analogies to restaurants and lawyers and doctors really just obfuscate the issue. The nub of the issue is if you're charging someone to provide them with numbers, then you have an obligation to be very honest about those numbers. You can't doctor the numbers to conceal from the client your overhead and profit. And unfortunately, that practice is widespread.
I have an estimate here, and it's kind of like what we do at Bolster. I don't know if you can see it, but it basically has components that inform the entire project and that have the degree of accuracy going from sketch through to construction drawing. So for example, here we have at sketch, we're at 80% accuracy. At construction documentations, we're at 100. We have all the third-party fees. We have the timelines. We have the material costs, all the material costs. We have the labor costs. We show who is going to be on site. Like, are you going to have a job captain, a foreman, as it's called? Are you going to have a foreman? Are you going to have two general? How much project management does your project actually need? This helps us think it through because we're guaranteeing the cost of the project. Yeah. What are your indirects? It's actually your overhead, your profit. Which insurances do you need to pay? And then our pricing method, how do we price it? So for us, those are the tenets of the structure of the estimating process.
We actually have all our sub-bids there for them to see if they'd like. And so there's all the language. I retype all the plumbing that's in there, but then the bid's also there as you're going through the estimate if there's additional detail needed.
This has been just a wonderful panel. I've so appreciated the divergent viewpoints, and I'm all like fired up now intellectually, and I want to the four of us to continue the conversation. I've really enjoyed this. Thank you so much for participating, and enjoy the rest of your day.